Hello, my name is Christina, and welcome back to Control Alt Human, a safe place to wrinkle your brain and, update the mental software. In this video, we're going to be talking about the second 5 of the 10 most common patterns of toxic thinking. In the first video, in our 3-part series, we talked about the brain and several structures in the brain and body that work to keep us looped in whatever way that we happen to be feeling, whatever way that we happen to be thinking, and I think most importantly at whatever quality of life that we happen to be at. In the second video, we talked about the first 5 patterns. In this video, we're going to talk about the second 5. Those will include personalization, blaming, fairness, or more the fallacy of fairness, emotional reasoning, and lastly, being right. So, without ado, let's begin. First one, personalization. Now, I'm pretty sure most people have heard at some point in their lives, don't take it personally. And that's true, we shouldn't. But personalization is actually more than that. Personalization is the subconscious tendency to relate external opinions, external stimuli, external events to ourselves in ways that let us know what our self-worth is. The underlying belief in this way of thinking is that our value as people is in question. When we look to these external things to let us know how we're doing, we're really in a sense helpless to them, helpless to these other opinions, and helpless to these events and factors that oftentimes aren't even entirely within our control. What can be done here is, rather than looking to somebody else, looking to something else as a determination of value, is to think about, and even write down if you need to, make a list if you need to, of qualities that make a person a good person, or qualities that this person possesses that make them a good person. If they don't possess these qualities, start to alter their actions in ways that emulate these qualities. In that way, they're looking into themselves and their own actions as validation of their worth. The second thing that we as human beings sometimes do is blaming. Now, this can be either blaming other people for the things that bring us pain, for the things that make us angry, or blaming ourselves for things not going as we would have planned, or not as well as we would like. Subconsciously, what happens when a person is blaming is that they're not only denying their own responsibility to, in a sense, have control of their own emotions, but denying their right to assert their own will, to have their own opinions, and, in a sense, take control of their own lives, to either do something to change the circumstance or go elsewhere if the circumstance is unacceptable. It's really easy to blame, and it's really easy because you look at that thing. This person can look at the thing, and it is that thing that is causing them anger, and this person is responsible for this thing. This person is responsible for bringing me pain because they did this. But in reality, we as human beings have the right to choose how we respond to situations. I'm actually going to be doing a follow-up to this video on negative patterns of thinking and what to do about those. So if controlling your own emotions is something that you or somebody you know has a difficult time with, there will be a link down below to a follow-up video. But in the meantime, Eleanor Roosevelt actually said that nobody can make you feel inferior without your consent. And on this, she was right. The third thing that human beings sometimes get in their mind is fairness, or really the fallacy of fairness. Now, I'm pretty sure most people have heard that life is not fair, and it's not. But it's not because every single person is different, and every single person has their own idea of what is fair. Such that when a person doesn't get what they feel they deserve, They can feel resentful. They can feel angry. Really, we all have the right to choose our own actions, also to choose how we respond and how we interpret. Rather than thinking that it's not fair, switch the train to thinking, what is it that I do want, and how do I accomplish this? The fourth thing that human beings do, that we do, is emotional reasoning. Now, this happens when a person accepts what they're feeling as fact. If I'm feeling boring, then I must be boring. If I'm feeling dumb or like a failure, then it must be so. The way that the body feels is actually influenced by the mind, by the thoughts. The thoughts are actually also influenced by the way that the body feels. In the follow-up video that I did mention a little bit ago on negative thoughts, I'm actually going to address how this works and how to get out of it. But in the meantime, we're going to say that while feelings are valid, and our feelings are valid, as we are human beings, feelings are not facts. It is productive to work with the facts, listen to the feelings, and work with the facts. Something that can be done if somebody is really having a difficult time getting out of a certain piece of logic because it feels right is, in a sense, to play the devil's advocate. Come up with the opposite of the argument or the thought, the inverse of the argument and the thought, and all of the logic to support the opposite of whatever it is this person is thinking or feeling. The fifth and final pattern for this video is being right. Having to be right, and having to prove to others that your logic, this person's thinking, this person's opinions are right. Oftentimes this becomes toxic because being right becomes more important than the relationship. This happens when the correctness of the argument, the correctness of the thought, the certainty that it is right is a reflection of the self-worth, such that being wrong is often a lessening of the self. It makes them less worthy, less intelligent, less insert adjective here as a person. It is themselves. This isn't accurate. This isn't right. A few things that can be done here is not just to look at, I mentioned earlier, looking at a list of qualities that, in this person's opinion, makes a good person or makes them a good person, but also to understand that as a human being, it is physically and statistically impossible to be right all of the time. 100% of the time. It is just not possible. No person is. Oftentimes, and this is something else, it's kind of a personal tidbit, oftentimes what connects us as human beings are the things that we'd rather not talk about. The times we were wrong, the times we felt shame, the times we messed up. But oftentimes it is owning that, admitting that I was wrong, you were wrong, this person was wrong, and taking that upon themselves and reaching out that I was wrong allows for the other person to not just be right, but help. It allows the person who let go of the need to be right to actually learn and grow and connect with another human being. Because it is impossible, and nobody is right all the time. That is the last video of our 3-part series. In this video we talked about personalization, blaming, the fallacy of fairness, emotional reasoning, and being right. So now I'd like to hear from you. Are there any patterns or any ways of thinking that maybe I didn't address in this video? Perhaps you or somebody you know is jammed up on something that's really not serving them. Comments are always welcome below. And again, as I had mentioned earlier, if anybody is having a difficult time with their own thought processes, I am doing a follow-up video about how to combat negative thought. The links for all the videos will be below, and I hope to see you guys soon. Stay kind, my friends.